I have already logged into AWS and this is my AWS instance. Um, what I'm going to do now is just put it to it and SSH auth browse and say open and it should connect. As soon as it is connected, it's important. It's important. Right. So this is the IP address. What's this one? I log in there, and actually I won't be able to this page cannot do it. So actually the problem is that stopped. HTTP service is stopped, so that's why it's not working. I'll start it. It is started. Refresh it. So that's my small page that I created on whatever. It's on that machine itself. Okay, my experimental AWS whatever. I've done that. But this page is hosted where? On this web server, right? Let's consider this as e-commerce website or whatever. There's a lot of load on this. So what I want to do during that load is um, spawn some more instances, create more instances. For that, I will go ahead and create an image first. That's the first step. So do I have any images? No, I don't have. I don't have any images. There is a sample image. It is exactly the same image that I used a few days ago. How do I deregister? There's some problem with this. Okay, it's done. No. So what I will do is create an image out of this. Yeah. Say right click, instance, image, create an image. So when you create an image, this connection will be shut down. Right, so this image creation should be during off production hours, but there is an option here which says no reboot, right? So you can choose that. So you can say this is classroom underscore demo underscore AMI. Okay, an image. This image consists of an e-commerce. That's good. So if I select this, my machine will not be rebooted, which is, let's say, in production. If I don't select this, it will be rebooted. I'll be gone. It will be kicking me out. And what are the parameters that you can select? And just say create image. So as soon as you do this, that's gone. Yeah, this connection is gone. Okay, that's good. So I'll just simply close this, and if I just refresh this, still running. Under AMIs, I should have two AMIs now. No, not there. Yeah, let's give it some time. It will create. Yeah, it will create. Okay. Because it shut down the server, right? And if I can go and check the logs as well as to what's going on this machine. Get system log. So if I scroll down to the bottom, see the machine is restarted. Restarting system. Please stand by. Mounting OPTs /bin. Okay, that's good. All right, that EMIs, what's going on here? So we'll pause the recording. This is nasty. So now the AMI is available over here, right? So I have an instance. Now I've got AMI as well. So what I'm going to do is scroll down to launch configuration. Now, because I do not have any launch configurations right now, it's going to give me, hey, go ahead and create it. Create autoscaling group. So yeah, so you have to create an autoscaling group and then attach the autoscaling group to launch configuration, right? In launch configuration, it is not saying create launch configuration, right? Because you have to create autoscaling group first. Even in autoscaling groups, it will show you the same thing. Create autoscaling groups. You click on that. There are two steps: is create a launch configuration and then create autoscaling groups. So it's a two-way step, and it's continuous. You don't have to launch different wizards. Yeah, click that. You can either select. So here you are selecting which image to pick up from, but because we already have an AMI which is customized, yeah, it's customized. So I hit select and I can choose the configuration again. I'll leave it always and say my underscore
So can we increase from T2 micro to another micro?
Yeah, I can. We can. You can choose whatever you want in this list. Yeah, you can select all of these: GPU, compute, or right, macro, general purpose, macro, right. So I'll select this one. Okay. Next, my classroom underscore launch. You can request for spot instances as well. What are spot instances? It's more like a bidding. So if you bid for the maximum price, let's say you want to pay $35. Yeah, you want to pay $35, whatever. Actually, this is per hour. So let's say you want to put 5 cents an hour or 10 cents an hour. And if your bidding is the highest, then you get that instance. So you can actually go for a large or extra large instance and bid for a price here. If that is available, they will give it to you. But it's more of a risky kind of risky proposition where we don't want to get into it. It's just an option that's given to you. You can enable CloudWatch monitoring. If you enable CloudWatch monitoring, you will be given all the features. Yeah, you'll be charged, but what you will be getting is a per minute interval. Per minute interval notifications you'll be getting. There are advanced details as well. This is more like a logon script or a startup script. So if you, when the machine is launching, if you want a script to run on that machine, some customizations to happen. So this is what you have. Or when the machine is launching, do you want to get a public IP address or static IP, a public IP, or do not assign a public IP to any of my instances. So such things are there. So let's hit storage. Storage you're aware of. And what port number do you want it to work on? Because it is a web server, I would really like it to go on a HTTP rule port number 80. However, you can also add it to an existing security group that you got, right? So you got some of these 80 and 22 already in launch 7 results. So I'll select that and review. Good? Because that has port number 80, 22 for PuTTY and 80 for HTTP access. So that's good, right? That's that. Good. This is important as well. So I'll use the same key pair because I have the key pair. It's like logging in. How do you log in, like a private and public key, right? Now that's done. While that is running in the background, it automatically directs you to autoscaling group now. So when you create this group, it will be attached to this launch configuration. So I'm going to say my underscore auto scaling group. Okay. Now, when this auto scaling happens, how many instances do you want to start with right now? Right? Do you want to start with 2 instances or 3 instances, 4 instances? How many do you want to start with? You can put as many as you want here, right? And in which VPC do you want to launch? And then in which subnet do you want to launch? You can add all these subnets, you can add all of these subnets. What it means is that you're not only doing scaling but also availability, so that if one subnet goes down, your application is still available on another subnet, right? Because the load balancing, how does load balancing work? Load balancing works based on different subnets. So your machines have to be in different subnets, right? So when auto scaling is launching, it will launch those instances in different subnets, right? So you will see that auto scaling and load balancing are so much tightly integrated. Now here load balancing is a feature that is given by Amazon Web Services. That does not mean that Amazon Web Services started load balancing. Load balancing was there ever since the evolution of the e-commerce or even before that, right? Now that means that there are third-party applications as well. F5 is there, Cisco is there. Cisco provides load balancers. F5 is another company. This F5, there's a company called as F5 that gives load balancer hardware. So this auto scaling can also be integrated with those external load balancers, but you have to do certain coding and encryption kind of stuff there. But here it is so much tightly integrated, you don't have to worry about anything, right? So when I hit next, now one thing that I missed to show you is advanced details. You see this load balancing. Do you want to use load balancing, receive traffic, and you can put your load balancer here. Currently I do not have any load balancers, that's why it's not giving me any drop down menu, otherwise it would have given like something like this, right? I can select this. Target groups, exactly the same thing. Health check type, should it be the lower load balancer when load balancer is down, or when EC2 is down, things like that, right? So let's drop this guy for now and say next. Keep auto scaling group size. Now we really don't want to do this. The whole purpose of doing an auto scaling is to scale in and scale out. That means that when there is high amount of resources on that machine, it must spawn new instances, and when the resources drop down by a certain percent, it should cut down on those instances, right? So that's why we want to do scaling policies. Let's create some of those scaling policies now, right? So here you got two of these options, which is increase group size and decrease group size. Yeah, so increase group size is done when do you want to increase this group size? So you got a couple of these options, but let's go ahead and create a new alarm. Yeah, to send a notification to. So when the machine is increasing its size, or spawning new instances, right? Whom do you want to send a notification to? I've got a couple of these already, so I'll send it to myself. These were created in SNS in CloudWatch. Yeah, I created this already, or you can create a new topic and send a notification to whoever you want to. Yeah, so I just have this, that server is down. Server down is just a name, yeah, just a name, and whenever this thing happens, mail will be sent to this person. Yeah, that's myself. So I'll make sure that I have my email open. Now next thing is that when do you want to send an alert? When you want to create an alarm is when the average utilization or minimum, maximum, anything, average of CPU utilization or disk reads, anything out of this, let's keep CPU utilization, is greater than or equal to certain percentage. Usually in production you'll put 70 or 75%, right? But because I really want to show how auto scaling will create new instances, I'll put it at the 30%, right? So what I mean to say is that I want a new instance to be created when CPU utilization is greater than or equal to 30%, and send an alert to me when that happens, right? Now 30%, now there may be instances when the CPU spike is just going up and down. For just one split second it may go for 30% and it may immediately drop down to 28, 29. You don't want to trigger this instance, right? You don't want to trigger this creation of instance just for that split second. Yeah, so it's saying that for at least one time wait for 5 minutes. Okay,
We can't reduce the time.
you can say, okay, when the 30% happens for at least 1 minute or at least 5 minutes. So when the CPU is constantly being hit at 30% for about 5 minutes, trigger it, right? But now I'll put it down to 1 minute. You don't put that in production for 1 minute, because for every 1 minute 30, 29, 30, the CPU is going like 28, 29, 30, 28, 29, 30. If it is cycling like that, you will have instance created every split second. Yeah. So let's go ahead and give it a nice name. My auto scaling group CPU utilization. Okay, that's good, right? Whatever. We just made that, and okay, it's here. So what does it say? That's your policy name, and the CPU threshold is greater than 30 for 60 seconds, which is 1 minute as selected, right? That falls under whatever. So it's gonna do that. Now, what do you want to do when this happens? Do you want to add instances to that? Yes, I want to add how many instances when that happens? Let's say I want to add one instance. When 30, I can change this. Yeah, I can definitely change this, and I can also say add 2 more instances when 30 and 40, right? Yeah, so add 1 instance when the CPU utilization is between 30 and 40,
And add one more.
add 2 more instances when CPU utilization is more than 40, whatever, greater than 40, and I can keep on doing like this, as many as you want, right? I can say, okay, when 40 and 60, and now create 3 instances when it is above 60, right? Now you don't want this to continuously happen because the CPU cycles may toggle between 30, 40, 50, 32, 45, 56, like in a split second. It may just keep on moving, right? You want to give it some cooling period, right? You want to give it some cooling period. So every time an instance is created, you want it to wait for, let's say, 300 seconds. For about 5 minutes. 300 seconds is 5 minutes. So what's going to happen is, so when an instance is created, it will wait for that 5 minutes, and then if it is still above 40%, it's gonna go ahead and trigger them. Yeah. So for now, I'll go ahead and remove this. Anything above 30%. Yeah. Now another good part of it is for very large infrastructure. I can simply say, okay, add one instance that is set to. Yeah, I can do this. Add 1% of the group. We do not have a large number here. It says scale between 1 to, if an infrastructure has says, okay, spawn between 40 machines or between 20 machines, 20 is also 10 machines to 30 machines, right? So maximum number is 30, minimum number is 10. So I am saying that the percentage of the group, so 1% of the group is what? One machine. 2% of the group is what? Whatever. Yeah. So the percentage of the group is what it is talking about, right? So you can say add and just leave it for instances like this. Okay. Another part is decreasing. So you want to scale up, you also want to scale in. That way you select some of those alarms and say that, okay, server down, average of CPU utilization is less than or equal to 20%, right? For 1 minute. Good. For 1 minute, that's it. Create an alarm. So CPU is less than 60 to 20 to 60, then trigger this. And what do you want to do? You want to remove one instance when CPU is less than 20%. Good. This is kind of, I don't know if you don't understand this, but it's saying too much. The
Scale 1 to 1.
let's say 1 to 5. 5 is good. Okay. This will be minimum and maximum size. All right. So once that is done, you can create notifications as well. So when auto scaling is happening, do you want to send some notifications to few people upon launch, terminate? Okay, you did not select upon no, these minute options. When that trigger happens, an email will happen. So when 30 to 60% is gone, when 30 to 60% has reached, you are sending a trigger. But the trigger is not to send alert when auto scaling is happening. So there are two different things. An alarm will trigger an email. Here, an auto scaling is triggering an email. Getting it? So you can add this notification, add more people over there. So I'll do that and say name, I'll just give it auto underscore server underscore group. Scaling underscore server underscore group. Now this tag will be given to all the instances in this group. This tag is given to all the instances. Whatever machines are coming, they will have this tag. Yes. So that's a summary. Okay. Let's create auto scaling. And now, as soon as I go to EC2, I will have a new machine being created.
Auto scaling group is created. Actually, we have not assigned this auto scaling to instances. We have created an image to Linux machine. We have to attach to it.
We did that in the first section in the auto scaling group. Right, so new instance is getting created now. Right, it does not have. I told you, name tag should be that whatever I gave here. This one launch class, that should be the tag. This should be the tag over here, right? It will automatically come as soon as it is done. So it's got a public IP as well. Now what I'm going to do is increase the load on this machine. Okay. Now we are just assuming that this is behind the load balancers. We can create machines are behind the load balancer. So I should be able to access this as well. Let's see if I'm able. Okay, it's not up and running yet. Let's wait. So just need to have this 2x2 check something. Just like any other EC2.
There's no need to log into the.
So as you see, I got emails as well. See AWS notifications that has a test notification. What is happening during that time? I go back and select this. It's my autoscaling groups and instance is created. How do you know it is created? Launched or terminated? Okay, it's in progress. Right, and it is a launch. Okay, it says it is launching it. Right. So when it is done, okay, these are the alarms. You're receiving this mail because the threshold is crossed. Okay, less than or equal to that. So what's going on? So I got one more alarm as well. Okay, what's going on here? So here, go to my EC2 and see what's going on. So refresh that, and I will put it to this one. Okay. Okay, login is successful. Right now, I should also be able to access this from HTTP, but it doesn't. So the reason is that you can also set it to configure start automatically when the machine starts, so it is up and running. So these are two different IPs. This is 240 and this is two different machines, right? So that machine is up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'll increase the load on this. Okay, there is a tool called as stress. Install that. Okay, that is there. Okay, yes, it is installed. So if I want to see the top, so currently it is using just 0 CPU. That's why no machines can be created. So what I'm going to do is I'll parallelly launch one more instance for this, and let's say on. And get to my P45. Just like two different instances. That's it, of the same machine. We're connecting to the same machine. Alright, so both are same machines, 102.31.9.102. Okay, now because stress is installed there, I've actually saved a command here. That one. So I'll just copy that and go back and paste it here. Okay, so what is it says that is just double up the CPU cycles and VM bytes by 128 megabytes for 10 seconds. Right, let's make it 100 seconds. Let's see what happens. See that it straight away went to 15, 15, 15, 15. It's going right up. The total is more than 100 now, right? Right, so it's constantly, it should be there like that for 1 minute.
25.
It's not 25. 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25. Right. Yeah. It's 25 for one thread. Each one is a thread. For one PID, I've got The process IDs are different, 52, 53, 54, 55. The process IDs are different. It's gonna be different resources. So it's I should
Once
be
if it exceeds 30,
once it exceeds 30, but it has already crossed 100 now.
you have to test.
Huh?
You have to add these two.
All of that, 25 plus 25 plus total processors. Total processing is above 100, isn't it? So for one it is 25. For another one it is 50. Both of them combined it is 50. They are different PIDs. It is not the same PID. 2652 is consuming 25. 2652 is consuming 25. 2654 is consuming 25. So all of them combined, the whole stress on that machine is 100. Oh, average, right? So you should be getting an email at a time that right after 1 minute you get that. Okay, so this is completed. 100 seconds is completed, so the CPU just went down automatically. Yeah. So let's see what's going on in my C2. Refresh that. Huh? Let's see what's happening in my history. Autoscaling progress. There's only one. Okay, so instead of 30, instead of 100, I will make it 300 this time. That's going up again. You get anything? So CPUs are going up and down.
Sir, meaning of submit is that we are adding here is that if one region is what is it, damaged, then it will create.
So as you see here, there is another one which is getting created here. Okay, waiting for instance warm up. I didn't do anything. It's creating another launch instance, right? It's waiting for. Let me go to EC2 and see what's happening here. Yeah, third one is getting created now. This one is the new one. So this one, right? 9 or anything that ends with D8 will go back here. Yeah, it is creating a new instance for D8, right? It's gonna continuously do that every time it's above that threshold parameters that you have set up, right? And if these servers are behind the load balancer, then they will be automatically attached to the target groups in the load balancer.
First, we have directly we can attach to load balancer and then to autoscaling.
Yeah, yeah.
Not directly to.
When you're creating auto scaling, it will give you an option, right, to check that box which says, do you want to use ELB? So you select that ELB and you put the target group name there. So all the machines that are getting created will be going to that target group. So did a small thing like that. So mostly you can use this command, stress command. Usually it's kind of difficult to increase the load on the CPU, but I found a small tool that can increase the CPU load just instantly. That's a stress command. I'll message that to you. So it is. And we can actually wait for another 5 6 minutes, and even this machine will just be uh, deleted because I'm not using it. So you will see a third alert, third status in this history, which will say, okay, terminating instance, which is launching now, which is good, but it will be terminating as well because there is no activity here on this machine because the machine has really gone down. But what I can actually do is again I can put the same command and give it some load and say what happens now. It's constantly gonna wait for about 300 seconds. It is so it will wait for a minute and then create a machine in AWS. So you got a mail as well, see? You got a mail as well. What does it say? A new instance is created and released. Yeah. It's in progress. Threshold 30. Yeah. No email. Bank account downloads. You receive this email. Okay, it's one more here updates. No. So now when I go back here, it should be creating some more. CPU still load is 100 and I'm expecting another one, another instance to be created right after this. But of course we need to keep the cooling period also in mind. So one more got created because we increased the load on that server. And if you go to EC2, there's a fourth server which is in the making. That's because I increased the load further on this machine.
For this server, I first have to create it.
So the terminating EC2 is now triggered, right? Because we did not touch these machines for quite a long time. So 300 seconds was right. If you do not touch it for if
5 minutes.
it was like if the CPU goes down below 20%, then it's gonna kill one of those machines. And slowly, if you do not touch any one of these instances, it will just kill all of them. It will keep only the main primary one. That's it. Yeah. So the essence is that if the load on the machines increases, you can create more machines based on certain thresholds. You can also come down automatically based on the resources and thresholds that you set up. That is autoscaling.